Don't settle. Just move on. Have you ever heard this relationship advice? And maybe have you ever even wondered if it's the right advice for you? I have lots of clients who start working with me and they share that they feel like they're just settling in their relationship, that things are just getting worse or they're staying the same and they're not getting better. They tell me that they talk to their friends about their relationship and their friends say you should leave and just go get what you deserve. They often tell me that they see posts on social media that really resonate with them and encourage them to go and get what they deserve. I completely agree that we all deserve all of the love and healthy conflict and communication in our relationships, the connection, all the beautiful things. And I worry about the blanket statement, don't settle. Today, I want to share why this message can be empowering and how I see it as kind of troublesome sometimes too. Knowing this, you can approach this advice in a way that actually leads to clarity and growth. I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in. So I want to start by emphasizing that I'm not saying don't settle, move on is the wrong advice. I'm not saying that you should always stay in your relationship. And I do want to give a reminder here that none of my content applies to unsafe or abusive relationships. So nothing in this episode or any other episode, any of my content is referring to someone who is in one of those situations. And if you are in one of those situations, I am sending you so much love. This episode topic today is nuanced, just like most things. There are timelines to consider. Things vary with different individuals and different relationships. And I truly don't believe that every relationship is meant to stay together. I do believe that so many people break up when they could have had so much more in their relationship. And I don't think I've ever done this upfront disclaimer in an episode, but I feel like this one could get taken out of context. So we're addressing it right out the gates. I'll probably say it again. So I truly believe that don't settle, go get what you deserve. This message, I believe it comes from this place of love and that it's super well intentioned because at its core, it's really about empowerment and reminding people of their self-worth. It encourages people to believe that they deserve the kind of love, respect, and happiness and closeness and connection in their relationships, everything that they desire. And that is a beautiful thing. Like I said, 10,000% on board with this. For someone who is stuck in a relationship that feels challenging or unfulfilling or totally one-sided, of course, this message resonates with them. It is a permission-giving statement. It is validating. It can be really empowering. The message kind of offers hope. If someone feels lonely or unappreciated or unsupported, unheard, when they hear don't settle, it reassures them that they're not wrong for wanting more and that they deserve all of the things that they would love. They deserve to be treated with care and with kindness. Again, this is so beautiful. And as a blanket piece of advice, I really think that it can oversimplify how complex relationships are. When we zoom out and look at relationship struggles, we see many patterns that are created by both partners. And these patterns can often be shifted even if one person dives into growth work, which you know I am always talking about. Don't settle. This message can also send the message that your relationship is just straight up flawed, which totally overlooks the fact that relationships are challenging and they require work. They require nurturing. It's like looking at a garden and there's weeds in there and you just decide it's broken without realizing that with care and attention, that garden can bloom, just like your relationship. And in my experience, many people who resonate with the don't settle message or they get that advice from their friends, they fully embrace it. And when I say many people, I am including myself from the past in that many people. And what this looks like is we're unhappy in our relationship. There are so many things that we wish our partner would be doing or saying or being that would lead us to feeling happy and fulfilled and connected and so much more. And then we get the advice, don't settle. And we're like, yeah, I deserve more. Of course, I am not going to settle. I deserve all of the things. And this isn't it. We want our partner to meet our needs, show up in the way that we would like, apologize, work on their own unhealthy patterns, show interest in the things we like, show interest in us when we're talking, and so much more. And all of that is so beautiful and so valid. And heck yes, we should want all of that. And here's the kicker. We aren't even doing those things for our partner. I know it can be super hard to look at our own unhealthy patterns and how we're contributing to what's not working in our relationship. I say this with so much compassion and so much knowing, because that's exactly where I used to be. I listened to that message of things shouldn't be this hard. He won't change. Don't settle. And I never took a close look at myself until we broke up. Only then did I see how I had been feeding our negative cycles, how I'd been blaming, shaming, pointing out things that he did wrong often, and so much more. And something that makes this even more complicated, it's more complicated, is not only is it hard to see our own stuff, we often think that we are doing all of the things to make our relationship better. I used to tell my therapist, I'm the only one who's trying. I'm putting all the effort in. He doesn't even try. I'm the one reading the relationship books, listening to the relationship podcasts, following relationship growth accounts. I am doing everything I can. And then when I finally got a relationship coach, as I've shared before, this was a very pivotal moment in our relationship journey. And that was when I realized not only could I see even deeper how I'd been hurting him, this was when I really realized that I hadn't been doing the things to create change. I was saying I was doing all the things. I'm the only one who's trying, and having a relationship coach gave me that light bulb moment of, oh my goodness, I've been doing things, but they haven't been the right things. So I recently actually did a whole episode about my breakdown that turned into a breakthrough when I realized all of these things. So I will link that in the show notes for sure. And all of this is why I worry about the blanket advice of don't settle when people are struggling in their relationships. And again, disclaimer, it can be the best option to get out of your relationship, of course, and it can also be a missed opportunity to dive into your own growth. Breaking up may result in getting into another relationship, experiencing the honeymoon phase or the romance stage with that person, and then eventually being back in the same place, just with a new partner. The cycle tends to repeat itself until you choose to empower yourself and look at your own stuff. And this is coming from someone, again, who did break up in their relationship. I am forever grateful, as I always share, that we got back together, because a second chance at us meant this opportunity to triple down on my growth work and to get support. The ripple effect of getting that coach on my own meant that we had a happier relationship. I got to see the changes that I've been wanting for my partner all that time. And eventually my partner dove into relationship growth with me. An example of how me changing my unhealthy patterns actually resulted in him changing his is that I started to notice my own triggers and know what was going on with my nervous system. So when my partner said something that triggered me, which happens in our relationships, instead of getting defensive or shutting down pretty much every time, I started to recognize that I'm getting triggered, and I would pause. I would breathe, and then I would respond instead of react. This changed the entire dance just in that moment. Because often before, when I did get defensive, he would get triggered and react, which makes sense. And it would just be a big old back and forth fight between the two of us. Prior to seeing my own unhealthy patterns, I would have left those fights, said what a jerk. But now I could see my own role. I could see that I was being dismissive, defensive, not taking any personal responsibility. The list goes on. So we both played a big role. In those moments when I could pause and choose to respond instead of react, the fights didn't spiral anymore. He responded in a softer way. The way we communicated changed. And that's just one example of how me shifting something created the change that I wanted to see in him without him actively having to get in on relationship growth work. Another way was when I realized that I had been speaking my love language to him and not speaking his. So he wasn't really feeling loved and appreciated. I literally thought I was killing it. Like, I am nailing it. I am giving this guy all the words of appreciation. I am giving him so much love in that way. He must feel amazing. And then I realized and learned just how impactful love languages are. And I started to get intentional about his love language, which resulted in him getting more intentional about mine, which is exactly what I wanted. I could give you a billion other examples, and absolutely anytime you can reach out on Instagram, loving.with.intention, or by email in the show notes to ask me more or share examples from your relationship if you're curious about how that could change, or pop it in the comments. And all of this is to say that if you want a happier relationship with your partner, I 10 out of 10 recommend committing to your relationship growth and getting support from a relationship expert. Only then can you know that you are giving it your all, and then you get to see what happens as a result. The reason I'm a relationship coach is because our relationship did a complete 180, and I knew that I had to support people who were struggling like I once was. For us to go from hopeless to where we are now, still blows my mind. It still blows my mind. And when we were struggling, all of that shifted when I got a coach. And I do have spots available in my love journey. It's private coaching. And if you want to change in your relationship, we dig in my love journey process. I will be your number one support. I will be your number one cheerleader. And you will literally start making real change immediately. It is my favorite thing to do to support people in their relationships. So you can always reach out if you're curious about diving in. And of course, I want to leave you with an intentional action today. So if you're wondering, am I settling in my relationship? You know exactly what to start asking yourself to find out if there's anything that you can do. But first, one more disclaimer. One more disclaimer, because I really feel like this one could get taken the wrong way. I'm not saying everyone should stay in their relationship. I just wanted to share my personal experience of the advice don't settle and what you can consider if you're in a place where you find yourself thinking about this. Your intentional action for the week is to ask yourself these questions. Have I taken the time to look at my own unhealthy patterns? Do I bring defensiveness, criticism, contempt, or shutting down into my relationship? Am I actively working on these things in a way that I am certain is the actual way to grow and change them in order to change my relationship? And am I actively doing things to help my relationship thrive? Have I consistently been pouring in love, attention, and affection? Have I been giving my partner the things that I would love from them with consistency? You're asking yourself these questions because, like I said, when we get into that mindset of I'm settling, we often aren't doing the very things that we would love from our partner. So this is such a great place to start to get compassionately curious with yourself. You are so amazing. Thank you so much for being here with Loving with Intention. You can peep the video on the screen to see what happened when I asked myself these questions when I went from a breakdown to a breakthrough. I'm sending so much love into your day. Remember that nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's have an intentional week. Bye.